What is up? In today's video, what I want to do is talk to you guys, as always. And in today's video, what I want to talk about is how one person's spiritual suppression can be another person's spiritual awakening. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I have a huge network of friends, a very, very diverse group of people. Like, I literally hang out with different types of people every single day. I also have a huge network of clients. All of my clients have different needs. I work with a lot of families. And the problem that I come across, this is a huge, huge problem I come across, is that the advice or the exercises or the coaching that I give often gets talked about amongst friends, family, and whatsoever. And what ends up happening, this is the craziest thing that happens all the time, is that when two friends talk that both work with me or family members talk about the coaching I gave them, the advice I often give often contradicts one another. And they end up coming to me and they say, "Lou, why did you tell me to do this versus you told this person to do this? Like, we spoke. Why are you giving two different pieces of advice?" And the answer is so simple. One person's spiritual suppression could be another person's spiritual awakening. Oftentimes, the ego, this is the thing we're actually healing from. This is the thing we're actually trying to let go. This is the thing we're trying to release, is our ego. It's our thoughts, it's our emotions, the things that actually keep us bound. Oftentimes with the ego is very, very lazy. It just wants one answer. I'll give you an example. I live in Staten Island, New York. New York is a very, 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 very left-leaning state, meaning it's Democrat. However, in Staten Island, it's a Republican borough, for the most part. And it's crazy to me how if I meet you, and you live in New York, and let's say, I don't really like politics, but I'm familiar with political views of both sides. Let's say I meet you, and somehow, for some reason, politics has become very, very popular. If you tell me one view you have, one view, I already know everything about you politically. I already know how you stand, where you stand. Because the ego is very, very lazy. It just wants one way. You see it with religion, like how religions fight with one another. Oftentimes they can't collaborate. The ego is very, very competitive. So it's the same thing when it comes to advice. When I coach clients, God forbid if I coach a husband and a wife and they actually talk and say, "Well, Lou told me to do this versus he told you to do this. Why is it so different?" This also happens to me on my videos. Recently I had somebody send me a DM saying I was being a hypocrite because in one video I said this versus another video I said that. So he wanted to know which one's the right answer. And the answer is all of it's right. All of it's correct. It all works depending on who it is. And not only who it is, depending on the situation, depending on the moment. You, as a very, very spiritual being, you need to be awake. You need to open up. You need to allow things to land. You need to allow things to connect. And realize if you're trying to awaken, you're trying to enhance your life spiritually, you're trying to heal, oftentimes the advice that I'm going to give you is the thing that's very, very cringy. It's the thing you don't want to hear. It's the thing that actually disturbs you because the ego doesn't want to be disturbed. The ego is always trying to be in a state of protection. So a lot of us, we're not healing. It's 2026. Mental health is on the rise. Like, everybody's suffering. Everybody's in pain. Despite the fact that in 2026, this is the easiest time to be alive. This is the easiest time to be alive. I literally just DoorDashed. I was hungry. I took out my phone. I ordered from DoorDash. A guy came, left him a tip. I ate food. I didn't have to go out. I didn't have to go hunt. It was super easy for me to pay for. I didn't have to give him cash. I'm so lazy, all I gotta do is press a button and the guy gets paid. Super, super easy time to live. We're very, very comfortable. which the ego loves. But we're all suffering. We're all in pain. Why? Because we're not being challenged. Even being on social media, like there's an echo chamber. What does that mean? We often watch the stuff that we like, the stuff that actually resonates, the stuff that just soothes our ego. If we're in politics, we're not watching the other side. We're not trying to see what it is that they think. We just want to watch the stuff that we like. And when I say we like, I'm talking about your ego. What you got to realize, again, going back to the beginning of the video, one person's spiritual suppression is another person's spiritual awakening. I'll give you an instance. Somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's a guy who has an extreme dating life. So I've heard he dates a lot of very, very young models. The joke is once the girl turns 21, he leaves them. And he's like, what, in his 50s? He's old. And if I was coaching him, and let's say he was suffering, maybe he's perfectly fine, but let's say he's actually suffering. And he came to me for some healing. And we started talking about his dating life. One of the pieces of advice that might actually be spiritually healing for him is to actually choose a girl that's probably closer to his age and get married. Marriage for somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio, a guy who has abundance of options. The spiritually awakening thing, the healing thing for him to do would actually be to settle down, because that's the hard thing for him to do. Versus some other guy, let's call him Joe, about the same age. He was married or he was in a relationship for a little bit. He's only been in one relationship. He comes to me because he's suffering, he's in pain. For this guy who doesn't have much options, the spiritual advice I would give him, or the healing advice I would give him, would be to actually go work on your social skills, go out to a bar or a nightclub, and learn to actually meet and attract people, because that's the hard thing for him. You ever notice that like the people that love to meditate, the people that like to go to like the ashrams, the spiritual people, they often like doing that stuff. That's the thing that's actually easy for them. The people that actually choose to give up their belongings and go live off somewhere all by themselves or with a group of people where they barely have anything and they serve, a lot of times I feel like that's the wrong piece of spiritual advice for them. The people that choose to go live in a cave, that's often the wrong piece of advice for them. That's probably not going to actually awaken them spiritually, because that's the thing that's probably easy for them. They probably don't like actually hustling. They actually don't like capitalism and trying to make offers and make deals and try to negotiate with people. That's the thing that's actually hard for them. So for them, like let's say I was to meet somebody who comes from a ashram, but you could tell they're still broken. And I go to a lot of these retreats, and the people, they don't seem like they're getting better, because then you see them again and again. And I have clients that used to go to these retreats, and it's oftentimes the reason why they go to these retreats is because they like it. It's something that resonates. It's something that their ego prefers, because it's the easy thing to do. I would actually give them the piece of advice to actually go build a business, become an entrepreneur, go start a social media, try to build something where you put yourself out there and people are going to say negative things to you, and them saying negative things to you and you trying and you getting rejected is actually what's very spiritually awakening, because your ego's not going to like it. Versus somebody who's into capitalism, who's already a multi-millionaire, what's spiritually awakening for them is maybe to actually just give it all up and go live in the mountain, go live in the ashram, go live in a retreat somewhere where there's not much stimulation. That might be the spiritually awakening and healing thing for them to do. So, what am I trying to connect with you guys here? What am I trying to show you guys here? What's spiritually awakening for one person might be spiritual suppression for another. You gotta realize the ego loves to just do just one thing. Like I realized my awakening journey particularly came in 2020 when lockdown happened. I was so disturbed at the time that I needed an outlet, and I started working out 3 to 4 times a day. Mind you, working out was the thing that I was already doing. I was a trainer at the time. It's something I love to do. I needed an outlet because I was so disturbed. So I was working out 3 to 4 times a day, drinking 600 to 900 milligrams of caffeine a day. There was nothing else for me to do. Anytime I felt a little bit agitated, a little bit disturbed, I chose to work out. And I realized, guess what? It was actually hurting me a lot. It wasn't until I decided, I remember I think I did 21 straight days of not working out, of not drinking. I was still drinking caffeine, but not as much. It wasn't until I actually dealt with those disturbances, because remember, my ego at the time, in 2020, when I was a full-time personal trainer, before lockdown happened, my ego at the time loved working out. It wasn't until I decided stopping working out was actually the hard thing for me to do. And when I actually decided to stop working out for, I think it was about 21 days, I went through an emotional roller coaster that I had to deal with. And that's actually when my healing journey really, really began, is when I decided to stop working out. Because remember, one person's spiritual suppression is another person's spiritual awakening. And that was actually my awakening, is when I decided to stop working out, stop drinking caffeine, because that was the hard thing for me to do. Deal with my emotional blockages, deal with my disturbances, versus somebody else who never worked out and lockdown happened. That might have been a great time for them to actually start working out. I probably would have gave them that advice. They never worked out, start working out. That might be a spiritually healing thing. So realize, again, there is no right answer. There is no one answer. Realize your ego is very, very lazy. It just wants one correct answer. So when I make these videos and I'm saying things that contradict one another, like there might be one video where I say, let's go. Like, let's go, let's get down to business. Let's go start something, let's go hustle. And then the next video I might say, let go, release, be okay with the moment, get present, stop chasing, you arrive. So in one video I'm saying, go chase. Another video I'm saying, you arrived. Which video is the right video? It's all right, it's all correct. Because it's different messaging for different people. And not only different people, different timing. So like right now for me, I'm a little older now. Working out is actually harder for me. So that might actually be my spiritually awakening thing now, that my healing thing is actually trying to get back into shape. So again, realize one person's spiritual suppression is another person's spiritual awakening. There is no right answer, or every answer is right depending on the situation. So don't be lazy. Please, please, please use your brain and think. And realize the thing that's going to awaken you, the thing that's actually going to heal you, is usually the thing that's most cringiest. It's usually the thing that's most disturbing. It's usually the thing that's most hardest. So choose to do that thing, even if it's just a little bit. All right? So hopefully this message connected. If it did, please leave any feedback in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.